The bottom line is, how's it going? Sean Terry here, Flip2Freedom.com, and today we are going to talk about extreme freedom highlights. Yes, Tom, I just started over, and I apologize for that. So anyways, we're going to talk about extreme freedom highlights. 2016 was off the hook. This is our 5th year that we've done the event. We started back in Scottsdale 5 years ago with 86 people in the room. Now it's grown to over 350 people. And the social media went nuts all over Facebook and everyone. And we had tons of requests coming in from Chelsea that you guys gotta have some sort of highlights. So on this particular live training, I am going to share with you the highlights, some of the key components of that weekend. So key components, some of the great things that happened, some of the key speakers that were there, and it was absolutely amazing. So you have an idea. On Thursday was our VIP day. We had 23 people that were VIP, and we were in a room where it was literally a mini mastermind for the day. Someone would get up and they would talk about what business, what market they're in, how many deals they've done, how much money they make, and the biggest obstacle that they need to overcome. And there was obstacles in there, from mental obstacles of how to overcome fear. There was obstacles on hiring people, obstacles on scaling, obstacles on follow-up, obstacles on how to get the best deal. How do you get the best deals? The market's crazy right now because inventory's tightening. So we talked all about that on Thursday. Thursday night, we did a mixer where we had literally 200 people descend on the bar at the Renaissance Resort here right by the Glendale Arena where the Super Bowl was played last year. And we had a blast, so much fun. We were taking pictures and everything. And then on Friday morning, right, we started at 9 o'clock, opening ceremonies, and we got into content. Now, the amazing thing about Extreme Freedom is the content is off the hook. And it's always changing, it's always morphing, it's always the newest, freshest, updated stuff that gets results. Now, obviously, all the people that we have speaking are doing real estate. They're not just teachers, they're doing real estate, like myself. I spend 90% of my time in my real estate business, and the other time I spend obviously doing stuff like this because this is what I love. My passion is teaching, and I love doing it. So anyways, the bottom line is the whole premise on Thursday, on Friday when we got started is how to go out and turn a hobby, how to take it from scratch and build a $100,000 a month empire. We had Kent Clothier that was talking. We had Brian Harris that broke down specifically how he uses free lead generation things to go out and do that. So one of the key components around this whole thing, which I was sharing with you earlier, was this spreadsheet right here, right? Now I'm going to show you the spreadsheet. So this spreadsheet right here, essentially, and I'll start it back at 1,000 where I had it. The bottom line is that what this does is that it enables a marketing budget. Maybe you have one, maybe you don't. But the cool thing is you can do self-generated. Brian Harris, part of his presentation showed how he built a $100,000 a month empire specifically using free marketing channels, self-generated leads. We had another lady there from Atlanta that just absolutely rocked the crowd with her 60-deal story specifically from self-generated leads, no marketing expense. So what this does is this was the premise of the weekend. And see, the cool thing is that as you build your business, right, it will grow into a massive business because you're going to be generating more leads on the front end, right, which is going to obviously generate more revenue in the back end. So let's look at this right here. So essentially what this is, we got postcards 1,000, bandit signs 200, self-generated 50, and this is over and we have this basically set over a 6-week total period. Now, these are what are called KPIs, or key performance indicators. So total net leads. Now we have gross leads versus net leads, right? Here's the budget, and here is the profit per deal, and then here is the revenue expected. This is the money matrix right here, revenue expected. So gross leads are the amount of leads that come in. Now, some of those people are going to say, take me off your list. Some of those people are going to say, don't call me anymore, whatever. What happens is gross leads turn into net leads of potential people that want to sell. Our goal with these net leads are to set appointments, right? And then we turn around and on those appointments, right, with the sellers, either over the phone if they're out of state, or if you're out of state, or if you're virtual, and then make offers, right, on those specific appointments. And then out of those appointments, you're going to get a percentage of contracts, right, which is going to turn into revenue. So here's the deal. So now you have 39 leads. This is the most important part. What it does, it gets you to focus on the most important thing. I have people that say, oh my gosh, I got started in, I tried and it doesn't work. So my first question is, how many leads did you get? Well, I got 10. Great. How many appointments did you go on? Well, I went on 3. How many offers did you make? Well, I made 1 and you got no contracts, right? So what they're doing is they're going, oh my gosh, I tried this and it doesn't work, but they only got 10 leads. They only went on a couple appointments, so I made a couple offers, right? So the goal is that this is most important. It keeps you focused on specifically exactly what is going to get you results. So at the Extreme Freedom event, we basically started with the premise of this, of generating leads, and then basically morphed it into scaling it to a massive empire and to building $100,000 a month revenue. Now, here's the interesting thing, is that when you're started, you can handle 39 leads. You can handle 39 leads around a part-time job, meeting sellers. You can handle 9.8 appointments over a 6-week period, right? Can't you? Right? So this is initially just a part-time, $904 over a 6-week period. You're talking, and I'm 904 divided by 6, right? Okay, so that's basically $150 a week, right, to generate this type of revenue, right, coming in, and bandit signs and stuff like that. So what this does now is says, okay, this marketing is going to generate this amount of leads, of which 15% is postcards. 38% is postcards, 38% is bandit signs, 24% self-generated. Then we go down here and we track our progress. This is key component. Whatever you track and measure grows. If you don't track and measure it, you don't know. So now this is the goal, 7 net leads a week, right? Now, or 7 net leads a week. Now, how many leads did you get? How many appointments did you go on? How many offers did you make? And how many contracts did you get? Now, if you get one particular lead this week, and you make one offer, and you make, one appointment, one offer, and you get no contracts, there you go. So now the next week, you got to guess what? You're going to have to add that in. You're going to say, okay, I need 7 plus 6 more, right, this week, and you're going to have to crank it out. Now, as the marketing hits, the more leads come in, but this will keep you focused specifically on the key indicators that's going to drive your business forward. Now, here's the deal. The whole weekend was about getting better at scheduling appointments, right? We talked about specifically medium, high probability, medium probability, and low probability appointments. We got better at making offers, We talked about on Friday, phase 1, we talked about different personality types, how to read handshakes, how to make specific closing, whether it be the tie down close, whether it be the Columbo close, whether it be the fear of loss close, whether it be the alternate choice close. We talked about different closing techniques, how to make the offer strategically. I actually had Rafael, he was there. He's my acquisition manager, and he was there, and he explained specifically how he turned around and generated over $905,000 in revenue since January by this one thing alone, offering, how to specifically do a strategic offer to a seller. He talked about that and gave you techniques on exactly what to do. It was epic. Everyone was like completely blown away. So what happens is, as you go through this, and you scale your business. So now let's say you go through this, and over a 6 weeks period, you get your first check of $7,382. How do you feel? You're excited. We had people tell their stories, the Extreme Freedom, about their first checks, and it changed everything for them. So you might be sitting in a situation right now going, I want to get my first check. Well, we talked about the best list to target, the best mail piece, the best, that we use, how the response rate, how that particularly works, how the phone system, how to talk to sellers. It was awesome. It was amazing. So, and then what happened, we talked about from phase 1 is getting better at all of these, honing your skills specifically, but then how to scale it to the next level. So when you scale it to the next level, what happens is you're going to generate more leads. So let's say you turn around and you go 5,000 postcards, right? And 200 bandit signs and 50 self-generated. Now you're going to get 99 leads over a 6-week period. Not bad, right? That's something still you can handle, right? That's 99 leads divided by, you take that 99 divided by 6, you got basically 16 leads or 17 leads a week, right? 17 leads a week is going to get you there. 17, you can handle 17 leads a week. 24 appointments over 6 months, so 24 divided by 6 weeks, you're talking about 4 appointments a week. That's a part-time job. You can work this around your job, right? So now what happens is going to scale. You turn around, this is your marketing budget over 6 weeks, which is $2,500 divided by 6 is basically $416 a week. That's going to turn around and equate to something like this, which is huge, $18,000. Now, what happens is when we talked about how to scale it and get to the next level, what happens is when you scale, you increase your marketing. So instead of doing 5,000 or divided by 6 weeks is 833 mailers a week. What if you did 15,000, right? Now you got 15,000. Now look at this. Spend 6,000, right? Now, obviously, to get to this, you reinvest 15% back in your marketing. Now you get 249 leads coming in, 62 appointments. What's going to happen is now you're going to say, well, I got to hire a lead manager. And then we talked about the hiring process and going to the next level. So when we did it, when the Extreme Freedom was amazing because we talked about each process and essentially how to scale it, right, to get to the next level, right? And doing that primarily focus on key performance indicators and getting better time management, going full time, right, and scaling the business to a 6-figure a month operation, which is okay. You got sound. You're good. So the bottom line is that's what we talked. So day 1 was epic, right? And then I'm actually going to share with you a story that I told in the end that really gives a perspective on maybe you've got in a bad situation before. That this will change your perspective. And then on Saturday, we talked about some incredible stuff on Saturday. Phase 2, phase 3, going full time in your business, becoming an entrepreneur. Then Kent spoke and blew the water. I have a clip of him speaking, and it was great piece you're absolutely going to love. Frank Cava spoke. I'm going to share him where he spoke about a real estate market prediction of what's going to happen here in the future about potential of what could happen in the real estate market going forward with inventory that a lot of these huge hedge funds are holding right now. Joe McCall spoke on how to make an extra $3,000 to $5,000 wholesaling lease option, which was amazing. So we talked about a lot of killer things, and Sunday was amazing because we got into the mindset, right, and how to basically you got 2 different investors, and they're in the same market, sending the same letter, sending the same postcard, talking to the same sellers, and one gets all the deals and the other one doesn't. Why does that happen? It's in the mind. It's a mental mindset. And we explained exactly what that was and how to get yourself in the flow of life. Have you ever met people where they have a round peg and they're trying to shove it into a square hole, and everything is difficult, everything is hard, everything is a challenge, everything is an uphill battle? Well, we talk about that on Sunday and how to have everything come your way perfectly the way it's supposed to be. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you these clips. The first one I want to share is Kent Clothier. And he has done a phenomenal job. He's did a great job. So I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to let you guys watch Kent Clothier and go from there. So I'm going to show my screen. Boom, boom, share, boom. And Kent.
I would tell you to write this down because there's never been a truer statement spoken. Money loves speed, baby. While you're thinking about it, somebody else is doing it. So you keep telling yourself it's hard. You keep telling yourself you're going to get to it tomorrow, next week, next month, whatever. While you do that, I'll sit over here and get rich. Money loves speed. Done is better than perfect. Write that down. Done is better than perfect. Perfection is the enemy. So my brand new investors in here that you're so busy trying to figure out how to get it exactly perfect. I got to get this logo perfect before I go and mail anything. I got to get that P.O. box perfect because I don't want anything coming back. I got to get my LLC set up perfect before I do anything. While you do that, some really, really dumb guy who doesn't care about perfect is going to go and get rich. Perfection is the enemy, okay? I'm going to show you how to do more deals faster and easier, leading to what we all want. More time, baby, and money. After today, you're going to know how to find these cash buyers and ultimately how to use their money to create deals. Now, here's the beauty of what I'm about to show you. We live in a world. How many of you flew to get here? Let me see your hands. Okay, so basically the entire room is going to relate to this next statement. We live in a world where mediocrity is being rewarded. AKA, look at the airlines. It is literally a race to see how much stuff they can make us put up with and charge us more with a straight face. Right? Oh, yeah, you were going from San Diego to Miami with a stop in Dallas. That layover was an hour. It's not an inconvenience that we pushed the plane 24 hours, is it? Oh, you were trying to make a wedding. Okay, well, here's a $50 credit. Right? Our entire society, from a service standpoint, is being diluted by the minute. Service is out the door, right? They just simply don't care. That's the world we live in. Guess what? Your competition is the exact same way. Your competition is an ocean of mediocrity. Now, I know I have some realtors in the room, so the next statement I'm about to make is going to be against everybody else that's not in this room that is a realtor. But my realtors in the room absolutely know this to be true, that you talk about an ocean of mediocrity. It's unbelievable, right? My wife goes and gets her hair cut, and in the state of California, the woman cutting her hair has gone to school for 1,200 hours to get her beautician's license. But the guy running the real estate office right next to my office to have that brokerage went to school for 90 hours. So the guy selling me my $5 million house went to school for 90 hours, and the girl cutting my hair or my wife's hair for $45 went to school for 1,200 hours. Does that make any sense to you? That's the real world. Right now. Today. And you wonder why I make these comments. Like, it's just insane. So the beauty of that is all you have to do is a pretty good job with what I'm telling you to do, and you will be light years ahead of everybody else. Because they won't. They won't. They won't put in the time, and they're just simply stuck. They're trapped in the dogma of being taught these old archaic ways of doing deals, and they sit back and, quite frankly, can't get out of their own way. All you have to do is an okay job at this, and you're going to crush it. You're going to crush it.
Cool. Now that was Kent Clothier, and he, is amazing. He went on to talk about specifically how he basically can build a six-figure, multi-million-dollar business by reverse engineering and extracting cash buyers to specifically that you can literally shop for. And you don't need 1 billion cash buyers. You need a handful of cash buyers that are consistently buying and being able to find product that they want. So explain how to do that. The other thing he did, he talked about that the time is now. And he talked about how we have a certain amount of time left in our life, right? I'm at 46 years old, and the average age is what, 75, 78 or something like that. If you subtract that, that's going to give you amount of years. If you break that down in the amount of days, it's going to give me amount of days. If you break it down in the amount of hours, it's going to be amount of hours. And you break that down in seconds, it's going to give me amount of seconds, and it's ticking every single day. So we have a limited amount of time on this planet right now, and it gives an urgency to take action instead of, well, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to contemplate and consider and evaluate, and I discuss it. I'm going to get my ducks in a row. I'm going to get everything all lined up and everything perfectly. And this, just do it, right? Take action, and that's what he talks about, which is phenomenal. All right, so Ken did a great job. Now I am going to share with you, Brian Harris out of Memphis, Tennessee, did a phenomenal job and rocked the crowd, or literally rocked the crowd. He did a phenomenal job. He got literally a standing ovation because he was that energetic. First time ever on stage speaking in front of this many people, but he shares some killer key tips that I want to share with you. So let me share my screen. Boom. Let's hear from Brian Harris.
I came across a book on Sean Terry talking about this free ebook, and I'm sitting there reading the book like, oh my God, dude, you're telling me that I can get this contract signed from somebody who wants to buy it, turn it in, I ain't even got to look it up, turn it in, and somebody's going to pull the title work and give me the money in between? Say no more. I'm gone. And so what I did was I determined my why. My why was I needed money so that I can build some residual income. You have to have a place for this money to go to. Money's vibration is movement. If you don't have a place for it, it will find somewhere else to go. You have to put it in something that circulates back to you. So I needed this. And so what I did is I created this spreadsheet for myself. It's really cool. We made this spreadsheet of all our expenses. And I learned that the way to get out of the rat race was to know what your expenses is. And when you have enough passive income that exceeds your monthly expenses, you're officially out of the rat race. You know you can be in the rat race as a business owner, right? You can still be in the rat race if you're a business owner. So I didn't want to be in the rat race as a business owner. So I created this spreadsheet with all my expenses. And then I determined how much I needed. Like Kent Clothier says, and I learned this from their techniques. I reverse engineered my end. I said, okay, I need $100,000 a month to be able to buy, 7 to 10 houses a month. And with that money, I can buy them, fix them up, and I'll have this much coming in. And by this time, I'll have the residual that's needed so that I don't have to start back over at zero next month when I try to wholesale. That was my whole game plan. And so now this became my funding partner. So I started moving, and this is what I want you to remember this. Because some of us are here to learn how to build systems. How did we go to $100,000 a month? I didn't have a team starting out. I didn't have all of the amazing podio systems that I'm going to talk about in the next 13 minutes. I didn't have any of that, but I didn't have the money. I didn't have the income, but I had what I call an energy budget. My energy budget matches Coca-Cola's, the billion-dollar company. My energy budget was strong enough to where I could post for free on social media for the next hour if I want to, 7 times a day. All day long. Craigslist. My energy budget changes the game. I can do these things for free. And so as I began to do these things, how much did I need? I started moving, and I did every position. I placed the signs. I made the calls to the sellers. I did all of that until I was able to scoop up enough money. And then I took the leap of faith. I swiped the credit card, and I hired a VA. First position you need, write this down, lead sourcing manager. Learned that from Sean. You need a lead sourcing manager that's going to do the tedious task. He talked about the $5 hour task. My lead sourcing manager stays in Podio on a daily basis and does the tedious tasks, answers the phone calls, and do all those things and talks to the sellers. Next, we hired a seller acquisition manager. Write that down, seller acquisition. You need somebody. So I talked to a young man back in the back. He said, how do we get to where they can't talk on the phone as good as me? Nobody can. Y'all remember the Superman comic story? When Superman died, they had to recreate him, but they had to create 5 versions of him. Y'all remember that? I was a comic book freak. Superman had 5 versions of him because one Superman couldn't be recreated. So I had to recreate Supermans at each position to duplicate myself. And when I would interview and I would look for that energy, and I wanted the best of the best. If you don't know how to do podio and you're my lead source manager, I can't hire you. If you don't know how to talk to people, you don't pick up on stuff quick, I need sharp people around me. The next person I hired was a marketing person. I knew that once I got my system in place, all I had to do was turn on the faucet.
Now, Brian Harris did a amazing job. He had the crowd pumping, and he talked about it. Did a really, really, really great job. I thought was phenomenal. So he kept on going with, and I love his analogy with the energy budget. You know what I mean? Because we do have an energy budget, and it's what we do, and our energy that we put into it is a direct, correlation with the amount of success that we have. And it doesn't have to be a massive marketing budget. It can be the energy we put into it, whether it be posting on Craigslist, whether it be knocking on pre-foreclosure doors, whatever the case may be. So that was awesome. Now, I want to share with you where I actually shared a story about a gentleman. If you've ever been through a very tough time, maybe financially before, this story is awesome, and it gives you a different perspective. So here, I am going to flip my screen. Boom, boom, and I'm going to go boom. I'm going to go boom.
Well, here, I want to tell you something a story that really inspired me. And I hope it inspires you too. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been totally down in the dumps? Ever? You know, where you just got hit hard, you're down in the dumps, you don't know how to pull yourself out of it, life sucks, you know, it just, things aren't going the way you want to have it going, you know. Carl Eller started his career in 1952. And he started his career in outdoor advertising. And he started with a small advertising company here in Phoenix, worked there for 10 years as an employee, decided to be an entrepreneur, right? And had that after 10 years of work in his career, decided to go out on his own, take that step, take that leap, and decided to open his own outdoor company. So he went to some friends and family, pooled some money together. And outdoor advertising are those signs. Have you seen those big billboard signs outside? You're driving down the freeway and you see the signs and stuff like that. Well, that's the company he started. So they started buying up old signs, building signs, buying little plots and getting land leases and putting land and stuff like that. And he did that for 6 years. Built his company for 6 years as an entrepreneur, did well. Then he had the opportunity to merge with KTAR. KTAR is a big radio station here. They do all the sports radio here in Phoenix. And they basically combined it into a company called Combined Communications. And from that, they built it for 10 years after that. So 10 years, 6 years he's working for those, 10 years, he then merged with this other company. They dove in, they built it, huge, right? Big old company worth hundreds of millions of dollars, this company was. They had partnerships, they built it. And he was offered by Gant, which owns USA Today, to buy out his entire company. So they did a buyout on the company. They sold Combined Communications to Gant, which owns USA Today. From then, he went on to Columbia Pictures as one of the CEOs of Columbia Pictures, and then merged it with Coca-Cola. So did some pretty big stuff. Humble beginnings, started buying these little signs and stuff like that, these road signs on the side of the road, and turned it into a pretty big empire. Well, after that buyout and after working for Coca-Cola, making that merger happen, he was mid-50s, right? He was mid-50s. He's worked for 30-something years in his business, and he's worth $500 million. $500 million. So what he did was he said, okay, well, hey, I'm going to retire and I'm going to, I'm going to do the life, right? So he went out to the finest restaurants, bought several houses and, different locations, had a mountain home, had a beach home, had the house here in Phoenix, Paradise Valley, had multiple cars. He went traveling to every exotic location, had drinks on the beach. He did that for a handful of years, right? And then guess what happened? He got bored. And he basically said there's only so many beaches and only so many cocktails you can sip before you lose the drive and that fulfillment of the hustle of building something or impacting people's lives in a positive way. So this guy had all the money. Now, if you had $500,000 right now and we were going to blink and you had $500,000, would you take it? Would you be pretty excited? Yes. Right? Then you'd probably go on the beaches. Think about it. What would you do? You'd go on the beaches and you'd hang out and you'd buy your house for this and buy your, buy your mom's house. You take care of all your friends, all your family. You get all the stuff out of the way. And you still had $450 million left over after you bought off everything. And you're sitting there in one of your beautiful houses, sitting up, overlooking the mountains, and you're sitting in your house. Everyone else is working. Everyone else is doing stuff. And you're sitting there with $450 million in the bank. You've got every car you wanted, every watch you wanted, every suit you wanted. You traveled all over the place. You've been on every beach. You sipped every cocktail. You've been on every yacht. What do you do? You're still $450 million left. What do you do with your time? Have you ever met incredibly, massively wealthy people that are miserable? That's why. Miserable. So what he does, he says, you know what? I'm sick of this retired life. He's sitting in his chair going, I got to do something or I'm going to go crazy. So what he does is he buys Circle K. He buys Circle K. At the time, Circle K was doing $700 million in sales. Over a course of a 3-year period, he built Circle K to over $3 billion. 700 million to 3 billion. He's like a stud now, right? Hey, I came back out of retirement and I got the magic touch. At that time, $3 billion. Now, Circle K, he took it from a nothing to over 6,000 global stores behind 7-Eleven. Huge, massive success, right? 3 billion. So then what happens? It's 1992. Do you remember what happens in 1992? Huh? Savings and loan crisis. You get the savings and loan crisis in 1992. What happens? The market completely crashes. Circle K, in the span of 2 years, went bankrupt. At the age of 63 years old, 62, 63, Carl Eller was not only lost all his fortune, 500 million, but he was over $100 million in debt. Debt. He lost everything. Lost the houses, lost the cars, lost the toys, foreclosed on everything, $100 million in debt. He spent close to 40 years of his career building this, lost everything at the age of 62 years old. Now, have you ever had any financial problems before and you've been in tough situations? I don't think it's been that bad, has it? $100 million in the hole. So what do? Now you have a choice, right? We talked about, a lot of this weekend is talking about, Pat's talking about the mentality. It's 80% mental and 20% mechanics. We've taught a lot of mechanics, we got a lot of mechanics to come, a lot of mental stuff. It's 80% mental and 20% mechanics. So it came down to a decision. He had two choices. One, he shrivels up in the corner. He files bankruptcy. He blames his partners, blames the economy, blames his employees, blames, and crawls up and basically goes away and that's it, he's done. Or he has a choice to where I'm going to bust it out. So what his choice was is he said to himself, I have time. I have time. I can do this. I have time. So what he did is he went to similar friends and family. He pooled together a small portion of money. He started buying little pieces of leased land and started building these outdoor. He said, I'm going to go back and doing what I know. Bought this and started building this outdoor advertising company from the age of 62, 63. By the time he was 68, 69 years old, a handful of years later, he got offered to purchase from Clear Channel Communications, bought it here in Phoenix, and Carl Eller became a billionaire. A billionaire. It's all mental. All mental. So it doesn't matter what hard times you've been through. It doesn't matter the tough times. You haven't been that bad. It hasn't sucked that bad. But you are come here this weekend and you have this opportunity, and here's the time now to get serious. You have time. Take all your excuses. It's all mental.
I love that story because it's just so impactful. I remember I heard it for the first time, and I was thinking, putting myself in his shoes at $100 million in debt and over 40 years of working a career, and basically losing everything, and thinking it would be. Can you guys hear me okay now? You're good. It would be it'd be tragic, obviously, but it is a mental game, which is me. So can you guys hear me? You guys hear me okay, right? Can you just type in the hear me? Vanessa just said it stopped again. Vanessa says what happened. But I just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. Yes or no? Yes. Thank you, Austin, for letting me know that. Okay. All right. JD said good. Yes, Joseph. Cool. All right, good. So now the next person I want to talk about is Joe McCall. Joe McCall owns the Real Estate Investing Mastery podcast. He's an incredible giver. He's on Facebook all the time. And the cool thing is, Joe, is and I don't do lease options, but a lot of people have been asking about lease options. So he shows how you can do basically 3 different offers to a seller. So if a deal doesn't come in and you can't get a wholesale transaction, then he can turn it in, literally offer retail, and be able to turn that into a $3,000 to $5,000 profit doing a wholesaling a lease option. So here's Joe McCall. Let me put my screen on, and you can watch a clip from Mr. McCall here.
Let's do it. Just like you put in some comps. And I go to Redfin, and I got the 3 lowest solds and the 3 lowest actives, and it's probably worth. He's advertising it for $179. It's probably worth $175. But I was even talking to somebody back there. I forget your name, sorry. And he's like, yeah, that sounds like a good number. All right, so fine. Then this is where I come up with 3 options. This has been around for a long time. The whole idea of sending sellers multiple options, but I got, well, anyway, okay, I'll just explain this here. So I put in here the first offer is a cash offer. The second offer is a sandwich lease option offer where I'm going to stay in the middle. and I'm going to be the tenant buyer throughout the entire time. I'm going to take care of the maintenance and repairs. I'm going to pay the rent, whether it's vacant or not, and I'm going to make a lot of money. The third option is a lease option assignment or wholesale lease option. Well, I'll just give the seller whatever price they want, okay? So I'm going to give them 3 options to look at. For me, sometimes I know some people disagree with this approach because you just want to go in with focus and just give the seller one offer, okay? My approach is a little different because, number one, I don't ever meet the sellers in person. I do this always over the phone. And so I totally agree with you're going to do more deals if you meet the sellers in person. Okay, bottom line, you're going to do more deals. But when I'm negotiating over the phone, it's like my approach is just take it or leave it. Okay, and this is what I can offer. A lot of times, sellers just need time to cook. They may say no, but no means not yet. So I'll send it to them and then follow up with them every single month. Okay, so these are my options that I give them. I just do 75% of ARV because this is Phoenix. I did $5 a square foot because I know it needed some work, and I did a $10,000 wholesale fee. So my cash offer was $111. Okay, the house is worth about $180. My cash offer is about $111. That's a pretty decent wholesale deal, I think. In Phoenix, is it? All right. My second one, I gave him $1,200 a month. I put in the numbers. So like my assistants now do this. My VAs do this for me. So they fill out the yellow things for me, and it all comes from Zillow. They put the Zestimate in there. They put the estimated rent from Zillow, the square footage in Zillow, and then my VAs can punch this all in there and come up with the letter and send it for me, okay? And we use Podio to kind of manage and track all of the stuff that's sent. So I want at least, when I'm going to stay in the middle, I want at least 25% cash flow from the rent. So this one's saying I'm getting about $300 a month in cash flow, okay? And I want at least 10% equity on this house. Now, I did 10% because Phoenix properties are appreciating really fast here. If I'm in St. Louis, I'm doing about 15%. And it's a really simple negotiating tactic that I found is when I'm negotiating this 10 to 15%, I'll say to the seller, listen, what if I can get you the same equity you'd get if you sold with a realtor? Would that be fair? It's a great way to like show them this is what I can offer you. It's the same equity you'd get if you sold it with a realtor. And then you can work from there, okay? All right, now I want to do at least 5 years on a sandwich lease option. So then my offer becomes $146 on the sandwich lease option. Remember, it's worth about $175. So there's some equity, there's some cash flow. All right. Then my final offer is a lease option assignment, and this is the one where most of them take this. The seller wants $179. I'll get that for them. Market rent's $1,200. I'll get that for them. So do you see the 3 options there? They all kind of build up on top of each other. $111 cash, $146 sandwich lease option, $179 lease option assignment.
Now, the cool thing there, if you saw that, basically, if they, he talked about where they typically take most of the time they take the lease option, which is a higher price, is that the option deposit was $100. So what you can do is you can assign that contract to an investor buyer that essentially can pay $5,000 or $6,000 or whatever the case may be to purchase that option contract that was put together on there, which is awesome. So that's how you can make the spread $3,000 to $5,000 on a deal. All right, the next person I want to talk about is Alex Youngblood, which he talked about. He's the owner of Wholesaling Houses Full Time. If you've been in there, that's the largest Facebook group. If you're not a part of it, I would suggest becoming part of it. Obviously, if you're a Flip2Freedom Academy member, you get access to the our Academy page. But the cool thing is about that is that there's tons. I think he has like 17,000 wholesalers across the country. And what he's going to talk about is virtual wholesaling or buying and selling houses remotely. I was on a coaching call yesterday, and we had a guy who specifically lives in a very small town, right? Not a lot of deals going on. So he took the information from Alex and stuff like that and applied the system and went out and flipped houses across the country and never saw them, in different markets. and he's made over $40,000 in the past. I think it's like 4 to 6 weeks. Just applying, information about virtual wholesaling, and Alex did a real great job at about talking about that. So let's see, Alex Youngblood. Let me show my screen here. Boom, boom.
Because real estate gives the opportunity to make big deals. How many deals of those do you have to do in order to change your life? One, right? So I want you to remember this. I'm a believer in virtual flipping, and all it takes is one. Say that. That's it. All it takes is one deal to change your life and put you in a position to never have to deal with a boss, never have to answer to somebody you don't want, and to really put life back on your own terms. All it takes is one. Remember that. This is another one. Virtual deal. I never met the seller. I never met the buyer. We got it under contract for $120. We gave them what they want. This was an online lead source. And then we sold it for $100,000 or for $200,000 to our buyer. And there's the HUD right there. That's what it came out to after it was all said and done. One, that's it. That's what gets you in the place to start building systems, start putting things in place, so we get this thing in a very predictable sort of way, right? Instead of the one here, one there, oh, I need a deal kind of feeling, right? So get you these nice deals like this. It'll put you in a place to really succeed. So what's stopping somebody from doing this kind of business? The virtual business. Number one, a lot of people don't know how to pick a market, right? Well, we're going to fix that. We're going to talk about that. So there is no magic market. Get that out of your head. There's no magic market that you have to be in. Don't make it too complicated. It doesn't have to be a blind choice, because I'm going to give you some really cool data that you can find and use, and almost like a market guidebook that you can read through and pinpoint exactly what's going on. And also, don't neglect your local market. Your local market is ripe for opportunity, and you can do it virtually. Most of the deals I see that I'm doing, I don't see, because I have good people in place that are doing the work, systems in place. So I virtually wholesale locally. Numbers don't lie. And we're going to look at some of those.
Now, the cool thing was that Alex talked about is he actually broke down his entire system for actually virtual wholesaling, which was phenomenal. So, so let's say you are in a, there's this guy, Tom, he just said here, he's from Munich, Germany. What if you're from Munich, Germany, and you want to flip houses in the US, right? Well, that system he's talking about of how to pick the market and what type of team do you need to work the properties virtually? How do you get pictures? How do you build a buyer's list? All that stuff went through his entire presentation. For someone like Tom that's in Munich, Germany, he can learn how to flip houses remotely. Or what if you're in a small town in Iowa and you want to flip houses in Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas, Florida, or whatever, you can do that. So, which was pretty cool. And he went through his entire system, which was amazing. All right. So now I want to, we got two more. We're going to show Pat Precourt. He's going to talk about mindset. And then last but not least, Frank Cava is going to talk about real estate market prediction. We're going to get into and talk about that right now. So let's see from Pat Precourt. There we go.
One, accept that we have everything in our lives that we deserve exactly to the degree that we deserve it. And I say that in the sense that empowers us. It's based on our decisions. Our decisions got us here. Our new decisions can get us anywhere we want, as long as we accept that level of power. And from there, we go to the next level, consciousness. Be conscious to the idea that you have a choice. It's kind of funny. I saw this crazy thing on the news this morning when I was waking up. Had a Doritos machine, dispensing machine, like on a college campus or something, that was trying to encourage kids to register to vote. And on the screen, this is a real live machine. On the machine itself, it had one side where you had all these selections of different flavors of Doritos, right, that you could choose from. And this said, for registered voters. And on this side, it said for non-registered, and it had one bland gray bag of Doritos. And when you pulled that one down, the Doritos came out. This is a real thing. You open it up, it had these cardboard, non-flavored, bland, yucky things you couldn't even eat. And it had a message in there. When you choose not to make a choice, the choice will be made without you. That's the consciousness we have to understand, okay? That we're empowered to choose. We can choose whatever we want. And that's step number 1, 2, would be 3, right? Number 1 is to accept the power. Number 2 is to be conscious of the fact that we have to make choices. We choose not to make a choice. The choice gets made without us. Every single day, clock keeps ticking. There it is. Make sure you know what you want to choose. Be clear on what you want. And most of these gentlemen spoke about that a lot of times today, right? And then finally, the 4th step is very simple. Take action, ladies and gentlemen. Step into it. Step into the fear. Don't step out of it. Fear is there for one reason. And I'll give you just one way to label fear, right? Fear is there for one reason. So you recognize that possible exists. Without fear, there would be no possible. And there'd be no probable, there'd be no likely, and there would be no victory at the end of the day.
That was a great section by Pat, which is pretty cool. And we did get really very clear on specifically what you wanted. So, if you're 100% clear on exactly what you want, and then you make a definitive choice that you're going to do whatever it takes to get it, and then you take massive action, if you take that massive action, then boom, then there you go. That's it, right? What happens is people, first off, they don't know where they want to go. They don't. So the whole entire weekend is about becoming highly specific and then giving you the techniques to accomplish that. Get your first check. Get 1 year's worth of income in the bank as fast as humanly possible. If you make $50,000 a year, the goal is to get $50,000 in the bank as fast as humanly possible. We call it the escape plan. And then, right, you turn around, and after that, then what you do is you go full time. And you become an entrepreneur. You quit your job. You have the option to quit your job, and then you go full time once you get 1 year's worth of income in the bank by flipping houses, and then you turn around and scale it to $100,000 a month. It becomes very clear, specifically exactly what you want to accomplish. Then you make the decision to do it, right? At all costs, whatever it takes, bust it out, irregardless of the ups and downs of this business, because there are ups and downs, emotional ups and downs. You get a property under contract, and then you find out there's liens on it, and then you can't get the deal done, and now, right? There's ups and downs. What happens is your emotions become constant as you understand the business and you build consistency. Once you make a decision, then you take massive action. And he laid that out, which is pretty awesome. All right, now we're going to hear from Frank Cava, who's out of Virginia, and he's going to talk about real estate market prediction. He's going to be basically a quick clip on different things to affect the marketplace, and let's go into it. So, talk about Frank, and I got some killer I want to share with you here. So hang on. Let's show that. Franklin Cava.
So let's talk about cycles, okay? You started to see with the rentals, you kind of saw a few things start to pop out, right? You saw the debt recycle. You saw they bought when they bought. They got a fortune in the bank. But when there's cycles with real estate, there's the declining real estate market coupled with a banking crisis. Now I want you to listen. The real house value with those two events will usually drop by 35%. So if your house is really, really worth $100,000, with those two things, it's worth 65. It's an awesome time to buy. Next, declining real estate coupled with a banking crisis. Equity. What's the difference between value and equity? Equity is emotional. Do we buy on value or do we buy on equity? We buy on emotion. We buy on equity. People are getting hammered. They're panicking. 55% decline. That's huge. So that $100,000 house is now worth like what? 34 grand? Does that make sense? So the ATM machine in our people's personal houses is over. And uneducated people will often panic because the only way you actually lose money during this stretch of time is if you sell. So if they do decide to sell, you have the leverage to buy. Is it starting to make sense? We starting to put a couple of pieces together. All right, peak to trough unemployment. Is Pat back there? What happens in one of these situations where there's a real estate decline and there is a banking crisis? Does unemployment go up or down? It goes way up. What's unemployment now? Ballpark. It's between 4 and 5%. What was unemployment at the peak of the last recession? Damn near 12, 13, right? Regionally, it was a little different, but it was like nationally, it was like around 11 and a half, 12. And I know it's counted different. It's funny, but you got to just pull that away. So it usually lasts about 5 years, and it rises about 7%. So from 5% to 12%, I'm not great at math, but that's 7. GDP decline historically lasts 1.9 years. The average is typically 2 quarters or 1 year with a banking crisis. Now, I want you to look at something. As screwed up as America feels like some days, quarters, we're at 6. The average is higher. All these other countries are worse. Usually we have 2 declining quarters. How do you define a recession? What is a recession? Go ahead, scream it out. It's 2 quarters of either stagnant or negative GDP growth. Does that make sense? 2, when do you know you're in a recession? After it happened. Unless it's 3 quarters, which they usually aren't, you don't know it until it's gone. Does that make sense? So that's how you can look at this.
Now, Frank's rest of his presentation was epic, and he talked about some interesting things in that. And obviously, I'm trying to keep this at a certain time, so we're not here all day because we could do it. I could show all clips for the whole week. It'd be amazing. But anyways, the bottom line is that he talked about the current inventory of the hedge funds, which he was about to go into, and the current inventory of the hedge funds. Like Blackstone and some of these big hedge funds that purchase tens of thousands of homes during 2008, 9, and 10 at the market low. Well, what's going to happen is, and he talked about in the coming slides, is that when these hedge funds purchase these properties, they purchase it with debt, which is bank debt, and equity, right? So the bank debt on a lot of these tens of thousands of homes those debt is set to reset. Basically, you know how you have a 30-year mortgage? Well, and it gets paid off in 30 years. A lot of the banks, what they do is they do a 5 or a 10-year mortgage on there, and then that mortgage either has to get paid off or it has to be refinanced or something. So a lot what they're speculating, and obviously this is a speculation or prediction, that between 2020 and 2024, all these hedge funds that is going to have their debt reset could affect. They could be dumping a lot of inventory in the market that could affect it. Now, the cool thing is, and we explain this at Extreme Freedom, is that as wholesalers, where we're wholesaling houses, back in 2008, when the market sucked, 9, when the market was terrible and Washington Mutual crashed and inventory was at high levels, we would sell wholesale properties at, anywhere from 58 to 62% of the value. So the 70% less repairs and all that stuff, that was out the window because the market was so low. We'd sell the properties at 58 to 62%. Now our offers would be lower. They'd be at 50% or 45%, right? So offers to seller would be at 45. So our offers were lower. We'd offer 45 and sell at 58. Now, in this current market where the inventory is shrunk across the country, the market's is in a good market right now. Now we can offer at 68, 70, 72% and sell properties at 75 to 78%. Why? Now, because when you have less inventory, it's higher demand. You can be more aggressive in your offer place and sell it higher because there's less inventory. So as the market and inventory floods the market, our offers become lower and our sell price becomes lower. And as the inventory dries up like it currently is, then our offers get higher to our sellers and our sell price get higher to our buyers. So the cool thing is the only time you can get hammered during this real estate market cycles is if you're holding a ton of property that doesn't have cash flow and it is highly leveraged, that's when you can get in trouble. And we talk about how to avoid that. So here's the deal, and here's what I tell you about, is that what we have done is we have taken the videos, and Chelsea's still in the process of uploading them to the site. But what we're going to do is make available to you, right, the entire weekend, right, and all the contents of the weekend in a private membership site that you can access and you can watch at your own leisure. Right? So you can watch the presentations as if you were already there and get all the content. So let me show you. It's pretty killer. So here, for an example, let's say we go in and you'll get access to this, right? Access to the membership site. And we have day 1, day 2, and day 3. And if I log into day 1 here, right, boom, and we have every lesson, you know, welcome and opening ceremonies. So you could be right there during the welcome and opening ceremonies. Cracking the code to your first monster check. We take you into the spreadsheet. We actually give you the spreadsheet we talked about here, give you the spreadsheet, show you how to do it in every system that we talked about, every mail piece. So you could be right there and you can watch it at your own leisure. Okay. The boardroom panel, which was phenomenal, answering. So what we did is we went through the entire crowd and asked them, what's the number one thing you wanted to get answered? And between myself and Pat, and then we had some boardroom members, which are some of our elite, they're part of our mastermind. They went up there and we helped answer them. Raphael, right? Went through how to close $900,000 in revenue in 12 months. This was an epic presentation. How to read people and use custom covert intuitive presentation. Joe McCall gives a spreadsheet and how to wholesale lease option, day 1 close. So, you know, you click into here, not only does it give you the video, right, of the event, which is killer, but right, it gives you everything that is with it. You know, we got phase 1, we got that, we got first monster check. That's the matrix, you know, right there, which is the spreadsheet we talked about. You know, we talked about, here's the postcards that we use, the bandit signs, the yellow letters, the for sale by owner scripts to talk to sellers, the strategic seller crypt. We got comp calculators, how to determine comps, AB contract, authorization release information, repair sheets that we use, Craigslist for ads. All the information, and then we give you an example deal of a property that we flipped, yellow page. So we've given you everything, plus all the links of all the sites in here of everything that we use, which is killer. So the bottom line is that it's in here where you can have access to it and watch it at your own leisure, plus everything that it comes with it, everything that came with it that we discussed and we went through at the Extreme Freedom. So you can follow along and you can have all the information there, which is great. And the cool thing is you can watch this on your iPad. You can watch this on your iPhone, which is killer. It's all mobile friendly, which is awesome. So this is access to Extreme Freedom 2016, all the content. Chelsea is in the process of uploading all the videos for because we literally just got all the videos today. We just got it like last Friday, so she's working on feverishly uploading the information on there, which is killer. We got day 2 on here, which is awesome, and it goes through same thing. Accumulating 1 year's worth of income. We talked about quitting your job and going full-time. Kent Clothier and how to build a massive responsive buyers list. Kent Clothier and the time is now. Brian Harris, 0 to 100K a month in 12 months. Frank Carver, the future of real estate market prediction. This is the rest of his thing. How to build a consistent $100,000 a month business. Everything in detail and exactly how to do it. So that's that. And then day 3, here is each one. Alex Youngblood on virtual wholesaling. Joe Block on how to get a flood of cash from private investors. The triangle effect we talked about. Pat Precourt, wealth building strategy. So it was awesome. A great, absolute great weekend. It's almost like you were there to do this. So if you go to Extreme Freedom Online, you'll land on this page. We're opening up for 50 seats. or whichever comes first, Monday at midnight. So 50 seats available, and this gets you access to everything, access to all the content we just showed you there, and obviously, the event. Instead of flying out there and paying for plane tickets and paying for a hotel room, and paying for all that stuff, you can literally get this for $297, and it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. If you don't absolutely love it, then you can obviously ask for your money back, because the goal is not to do that. So if you go here, and here's all the speakers, speaker spotlights that we had. Here's the bonuses, all the downloads that we have, all the contracts, and you get access to 2015, which is phenomenal. But if you go here, right, you click on this button, it opens up. Extreme Freedom 2016 online. All you do is put your first name, last name, email address, phone number, right? And then card information right there. Or if you want to use PayPal, you can use PayPal. Put your card information, place your order, and you'll get instant access to the membership of Extreme Freedom Online. Also, too, which is cool, if you want to use PayPal credit, you can. You can click on there, and it'll walk you through the process of obtaining PayPal credit, which is cool, because there's 6 payments, no interest, for if paid in full in 12 months, which is cool. So this is Extreme Freedom Online, and what I'm going to do is I am going to go here, and I'm going to put this in the. I just put that in the. The chat section there, so you can get that Extreme Freedom Online. Like I said, we only have 50 seats available that we're opening this up for, and then we're going to shut it down. Either 50 seats are sold or Monday evening. So that is Extreme Freedom Online. You can get access to that right now, to the membership site, have access to it, and Chelsea will to make that available, which is killer. 60-day money-back guarantee if you don't absolutely love it. Then, which I know you will. It's awesome, especially if you watch it and really and go through it. You're gonna love this information. We got some great highlights of the event, which is phenomenal, which you got to see. All right, so I'm gonna go in now, and I'm going to take a copy of that, and I'm gonna go back here, and I'm gonna go back here, and I'm gonna go here. Someone asked if you're a Flip2Freedom member, do you automatically get access? No, this is a complete different product, but it's and we made it, obviously so cost effective that everybody can be able to purchase it and have access to it. But it is a complete different product inside there. So, we were going to put it out, and I mean, it cost over $25,000 to create these videos, to have video crews there to create the videos and edit them and give them to it. It's cost $25,000. Austin, killer man, congratulations. Just purchase. It's awesome. But it costs $25,000 to be able to be able to do that. So what we're doing this is basically just to offset that cost. So that's why we're putting it. Obviously, we're not to make any money on it or anything like that, just to offset that cost. So we made that for you to make available, and so you can have access to it. All right. Does this replace beginner training? No, this adds to the beginner training. I mean, the beginner training's there, but it adds to it and takes it all the way to $100,000 a month, and you get to hear from great speakers, which is phenomenal. But I can tell you one of the biggest takeaways from the event is people said it was life-changing. It was life-changing because of the speakers that we had, and because of the content that we shared in such a condensed fashion, which was awesome. We will be able to learn the payouts to team members. Yes, yeah, we went through inside there. Yes, inside there in the $100,000 a month section, we went through exactly salaries and positions and stuff like that, and we went through actually, exactly the roles and responsibility of each position, and we actually give you a mind map that you can have with all the positions, all the pay and stuff like that, which is cool. Cool. You guys have any more questions? Any more questions? Any more questions from you guys? Yeah, it is a no-brainer. I mean, it's pretty, Tom, it is a no-brainer. It's pretty killer to have, you know, all the information there for you. You can watch it and watch on your iPad, you know. Will there be a mini event before the next? Probably. I don't know. You know, I don't know. We're thinking about doing an advanced event for like advanced section, but we have not booked anything. We're talking about it, but it's not in the works yet. How long does the info have to be available after you buy it? Forever. As long as there's internet and we can have access to it and stuff like that, then, but you know, once you buy it, it's indefinitely. How we all put the money in the middle and split it? I don't know. All what money in the middle and split it? Split it. So, any more questions before I sign off here? Well, let me leave you with this, is that, you know, one of the biggest things out of the event, people come for mechanics, but when we talk about the impact that it made, they always revert to the mindset, you know, and the mindset, because here's the thing, and I talked about this yesterday in the coaching call, that there are people that get started in this business. When people get started in the business, they sometimes, you know, they've never made more than $20,000 or $30,000 or $50,000 a year. Okay. And they've never made more than $50,000 a year. And then they come into this business, they see an opportunity to make $100,000 a month or $50,000 a month. Well, there's different thinking from someone that makes $50,000 a year to $50,000 a month. There's a complete different thinking. And what primarily happens is we give techniques and we give the mechanics on specifically exactly what to do. But what happens is driving in one direction, but then the mentality of a person's driving in another direction, and they find themselves stuck and they go, holy cow. And what happens is this, there's two specific types of people, right, that get in this, right? And they take the action and they send the letters and they send the postcards and they talk to sellers and they make the offers and they don't get results and they go, why am I not getting results? I don't understand, right? And then when we find out, when we talk to them, I say, listen, you know, what is the story you're telling yourself? What is your chronic thoughts? What are you what are you telling yourself? And typically what they do is say, well, you know, in their thoughts, they're thinking, well, I don't know if it's going to work. Awesome, Marvin. Congratulations. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work for me. I don't know. You know, I don't want to, what if I spend money on marketing? I don't get any calls. What if I spend money on marketing and I say the wrong thing to a seller and I can't get any appointments? What if I spend money on marketing and I lose that money? Oh my gosh, what happens to that? What if I meet with a seller and I say something wrong? What if I do this? What if I do that? What if I do this? What if I do that? And they're projecting negative out to the universe, right? And they don't have morning rituals. They wake up, they roll out of bed, and they just kind of are kind of directionless. They're not crystal clear on specifically what they want. And then they wonder why it doesn't work. They get in real estate and they have the same rituals, the same thing they're doing with this $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year mentality. And they're going, why doesn't it work when I do this real estate thing? Now, that's one, right? One side of the coin. The other side of the coin is someone who has massive success. And they wake up early and they focus on what they want. They're crystal clear on what they want. And they project into the future everything that they want in their life. They project it and they can see it and they can feel it, right? And they do that work in the morning before everybody else is up, and they spend that time. They focus on what they appreciate. They focus on what they're grateful for, right? Now what they do is they're going to put money in marketing and they go, wow, I can't do the money in marketing because I know I'm going to get someone that's going to call me. I know I'm going to get a successful person, a motivated seller. I know I'm going to say the right thing. I know I'm going to book the appointment. I know I'm going to meet the seller. I know I'm going to get under contract. I know I'm going to sell it, and I know I'm going to make a profit. right? And they project what they want in the future. They project success into the future. Well, can you understand this? If you have the same person, the same market, sending the same letter to the same list, they're both in Iowa, right? You know, Sioux City, Iowa. And they're both sending the same letter to the same list, to the same, right? And one person gets all the success and the other person doesn't. It's primarily their thoughts. If one's person projecting success and the other person's projecting, failure, that I don't know if it's going to work, that's what they're attracting into their life, right? So one small section about the weekend that was life altering for people is how to think like a successful person, how to project into the future, how to build rituals in your life and things you can do to project in the future success. And they realized the realization that, holy cow, the reason I'm not achieving the success I want is because primarily of the negative projecting thoughts I'm putting out in the future. So that's why it's been so amazing for people, because of that realization and then the specific actions they can take to get results. So I can tell you this is the absolute best training we have ever done. Extreme Freedom 2016 was the absolute best and off the hook. And I really want you to be able to take advantage. So go to Extreme Freedom Online, go there, sign up, get started, and put your information in there, get started, get up and going, get access to it, and start learning it, because I know it will be life-changing for you, just like it was for the 350 plus people that were there. So again, guys, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it, and have a phenomenal weekend coming up. And Cardinals have got to win. I can tell you that. I mean, they're like, what, 1-3 right now? And they were supposed to slated to win their Super Bowl. So I'm rooting big time for the Cardinals. So go Cards. All right, guys, take care. God bless, and be safe.